Hey, how's it going, everybody? My name is Karthik Ramaswamy, and I'm with UZ Marketing. And right here, I have Tyler with what's your company name? Tell us a little bit about who you are, your background, what you do for a living, and how you started your company.
Yeah, so I'm Tyler Graves with Laser Digital Marketing, kind of in the same fields, but
Hmm.
not really at the same time because the way I've set my business up is totally different. So I set my business up in early 2013 when I was in college, and I basically just started doing web design as an odd job for just different small businesses and everything. And then I found a way to kind of start seed websites, and so that's what I've been doing basically. And basically, what it is I plant a seed and nurture it, let it grow as far as a website, and then just let it run. I've got Shopify, I've got um, Duda accounts, I've got all sorts of other different types of websites. But they vary from like drop shipping to blogging to everything in between. So that's just kind of a general basis, and then from there, like more and more people were like, "What are you doing? Like, why are you doing this?" Like, "Oh, I'm just doing this, just kind of doing my own thing." And more and more people are like, "Can you just manage my accounts for me?" And so that's how Laser Digital was founded in late 2017. I hired my first employee, John, and he's just like, yeah, let's just do this. Let's get a maintenance package. And so at the time, I was working for a real estate company in Dallas, Texas. And so they were primarily like property management and everything. And so I took a lot from them as far as like management and styles and things like that uh, to where it took it to the digital side. So the kind of the spark notes is like I manage digital real estate. That's what I do.
Yeah.
From investment websites to taking care of your domain, your site security, and everything in between. Like that's what I do, and everything else is just gravy on top of it. Since 2017, we've been very blessed to have grown to over 35 employees, um, and grown into new facets of marketing and search engine and everything. It's such a crazy world that I can't learn everything, so I decided to just expand my team, and that's how I got started. Um, we actually had our best year ever so far this last year. Even though everyone else was shutting down, we were still growing. So that's fantastic. So that's a little bit about me.
That's incredible. I appreciate you sharing a little bit about your backstory and how the business came about. So yeah, you're right. We are in a similar industry, but marketing is so vast that there's only like maybe a 2% overlap in what we do and what you do. So
Yeah,
the market is
it's
so.
it
Mhm.
is crazy because like I saw on your website like y'all do like web design and things like that. Y'all are offering great prices too. Like, um, I saw $9 SEO on there. I was like, oh my gosh, y'all are doing that for $9? That's crazy. Or $6 or whatever. I don't. I just glossed over it real quick. It's just kind of like wow, man. I need to rethink how my pricings go. But at the
No,
same time, there's so many people out there that they think they know what they're doing, and it's just like it's not. It's a lot more complicated than people make it out to be. And it I run into it all the time where business owners where they don't know their customer and they don't even know where to start. And that's like my number one pet peeve is like, why do you not know your customer? Come on now. So it's just, ugh. But yeah, no, it's such a vast world. I mean, you've got pay per click, you've got Facebook ads, which is technically pay per click.
mhm,
But that's a whole another animal by itself. I don't know if you've ever done it or not.
mhm,
You've got SEO, you've got blogging, you've got web design, you've got web development, which is a completely
mhm.
different thing. So it's just, yeah, you're right.
Kind of what we did. So the reason there's only a little bit of overlap is the web development. We kind of make a website, pass it on to the customer, and from there they maintenance it. And our pricing is set to where we kind of get them in at entry level.
Hmm.
So we give them a basic package, and then they provide all the content. We just take care of the layouts and stuff like that. But from what it sounds like for you, you are able to offer a much more valuable service because the way that you are like actually holding on to the maintenance for the customer, and you continue the maintenance and be that person to develop their process or to make new posts or make new pages or make new developments. So the way that you service customers is a lot different than the way we did.
That's very true, because you're more of like just a kind of builder, right?
Yeah, we pivoted a lot over the past few years, more into printing. So while we still do offer those web development stuff, we don't focus on it anywhere near as much as we do printing. Printing kind of like there was a small niche incident that happened that kind of just took the printing, and we started scaling in that direction.
That's awesome. So, that's really awesome. When did y'all start doing that?
We started printing in 2015.
Nice. Y'all do like mostly banners and stuff, or like yard signs? Nice.
Yard signs and T-shirts, business cards. Those are our 3 most popular ones. So we haven't really focused that much on web development, but I do know a little bit about it, so I can kind of talk to you about that. We do SEO too as well. So can you tell me a little bit about the SEO, pay-per-click, and stuff like that?
Yeah. So like for us, we have an active management. That's our protocol for it, and so it very deeply depends on what the client wants. Do you just want to be on the search engine, or do you want to be on the first page of the search engine? And so like the search engine is an ever growing, ever evolving animal as it is. And so like just like last week, we had a client come back to us. They're like, why am I going down in the search ranking? It's kind of like, okay, well, let's step back and look. And come to find out, they got affected by the Google update on January 8th. And so, with the whole "Your Money, Your Life" YMYL, Google's trying to crack down on that even more ever since 2018, and they are part of that group. They were a coaching client, and so they're life coaching or business coaching. And so that's starting to get into the realm of what they're considering your money and your life. And so, of course, they were directly affected by that. And people are learning all these like keywords and things like that, which is great. It's great fundamentals and everything, but it's a very fastly dying breed. Like we've seen keyword heavy websites just drop off the map over the last couple of months, just because Google is just hammering that you need to do original content, which is absolutely crazy because no one has time to do that anymore, because everyone's like, where's the next sale? Everyone's so occupied, like, I need to get sales in, and Google's over here like, I'm changing the game again and changing the rules, and it's like, okay, so yeah, but the fundamentals are still there. Everyone, yes, you still need keywords, yes, you still need backlinking, like, yes, that's the fundamentals, but as Google ages, it's going to be really interesting in May to see what happens, because they're rolling out a new update in May, so that's going to be very interesting to see what happens with all that. So very interesting. But pay-per-click, a lot of everyone's thinking like, Google ads, Facebook ads. Hulu just released their first like ad platform, though it's not the greatest. We were in it for a whole 2 months, and it did not perform great for us. So we're kind of hoping it does great, hoping it does better. YouTube ads, that's a different platform for pay-per-click. And YouTube has been an ever-changing content machine, just like everything else, and they have a giant bug that's going on right now, and they're trying to fix, and no one's talking about it because they want to keep it very hush hush. So yeah, but I don't know. I know y'all are in the signing business. Like, we've just gotten into the traditional stuff where we're doing TV and radio ads. Like, it's a whole different creature. Whenever we merged into that, we're like, okay, I have no earthly idea what's going on. What do you mean we have to buy media? What are you talking about? Like, oh, I have to do this a certain way or do this certain way. It's like, okay, all
Yeah.
right. It's not online. Okay. So it's been an adventure to say the least. I don't know. Yeah, I don't. I'm just talking to myself.
No worries. No, you're actually. It's very daunting when you get into the pay-per-click. YouTube is different. They even have Waze ads now. You know that the Maps
Oh,
software.
do they really?
Yeah, the next door has some ads, and then
Oh,
there's like every platform that a user spends their time on is becoming a monetized advertising platform.
yes,
And
it
every
is.
single one of these platforms is so fundamentally different. We made a YouTube video ad 2.5 years ago,
Hmm.
and it wasn't optimized for YouTube. It was a really good video. It was shot by a professional. He made it really good. He edited nice. Music was nice, but it didn't capture what we wanted the audience to actually like. It didn't have the right call to action. So
Yeah.
we paid for a lot of views. Maybe we got 70,000 views, but zero conversions because it
Hmm.
didn't have the right call to action and it wasn't designed the right way. Then we also tried that on Facebook too, and it also utterly failed because the thing with both of those mediums is you kind of have to adjust your content and adjust the ratio based
Hmm.
on the viewer that's viewing it. So
Yeah.
to the person at home or to the person viewing this who has a business, they might be thinking that it's really hard to get in, but at the same time, like things like TikTok and a lot of videos on YouTube, Facebook and Instagram, they're
Hmm.
really shot like home videos,
Yep.
and they use these as advertisement, and they can really take it to the next level without any investment. They got a phone, they don't need a fancy equipment.
Yeah, no, exactly. And like especially when it's coming to the video, like more and more people they don't really care about the video quality as long as they can see your face and they can hear you clearly, they don't care. Like as long as you get in there, you answer the question that they're looking for, they'll keep watching. Like I know we have one website. It's a fencing website in Denver, Colorado. Okay, and the purpose of that site is to generate leads for local fencing contractors, right? And of course, we have a YouTube channel to go along with it. And I don't know if you know YouTube Shorts that just came out a couple months ago. Uh, we shot a 30-second video about a guy like he literally we asked our fencing contractor what's the best way to secure your fence to what to the poles, and he's like, don't use nails, use the screw, and that was it. Like that video alone got 300,000 views. It was only 30 seconds on how to secure something to a post. 300,000 views, and that was like 3 days of just letting it sit, and it's just kind of like, oh my god, like this YouTube short thing's been crazy, and so we tested with other things and like that, but we took the same video, put it on Facebook Shorts, not nearly the same performance, right? Like it got maybe 10,000 views, maybe, right? But and then you toss it on Instagram and it got 2,000, right? And it's just like, why? Why is it? It's because, like you said, it's the customer. You have to change between the platforms so much because like YouTube is so video heavy, but Instagram is so image heavy. So they don't really care about it. They don't watch a lot of videos. At least, I don't. On Instagram, whenever I'm on it, I'm just like, oh, that's a cool picture, and I just keep scrolling. So, and on Facebook, I'd rather read content because I'm a weirdo, and everyone's like, why do you read content? It's like, 'cause I like reading it.
Mhm.
So, but I think a lot from most business owners, their their biggest thing that you could take away from this kind of like my experience in the marketing niche, whatever you're doing, whatever platform you're doing in, is doing your customer demographics and really refining your customer avatar. It's a game changer. It really is, because you find your right call to action, you find your right messaging, you find like exactly who you're talking to, right? It's so much easier just taking taking an hour to figure out who your customer is
Mhm.
it could totally change your business. Just because you don't know, um, you just don't know them until you actually sit down and do it. You know, I think my most powerful one was we had a client in San Diego, California. He was, because we do mostly service based businesses. He was a landscaper, and he's like, I just don't know who to target or anything like that. And so like, okay, well, let's break it down. What's your main service you wanting to get done? Uh, he's like, I'd rather just pick up some more mowing clients because I can get them done, zip zap, and I'm done. Okay, so you're looking for people that are mowers. All right, so most people are homeowners, right? And now we're talking San Diego, California. You know, most people are at the age of 25 aren't buying houses in San Diego, California, or even renting. If they are, then great for you. That's fantastic. The home prices are insane up there.
Mhm.
Um,
Yeah.
and then so now we already know like it's not going to be anyone lower than 25, age of 25, maybe even 30. And then now we have to kind of think of our customer like we straight up asked him, who's your most of your customers? He's like, older people. Okay, what age? About 50. All right, there's your customer demographic. Anyone over the age of 50, you
Mhm.
know, and it makes sense because if you think about it, like I'm still healthy enough, I still want to save money that I do my own yard, but my next door neighbor, he's 65. He could care less about doing his yard. He'd rather pay someone to do it. So it makes sense just sitting down and looking at it. And he went from right around $2,500 a month, which
Mhm.
isn't much, to almost doubling that amount in a month just by refining his customer avatar, knowing who he's going for. He went. I think the last figure was 48. Almost doubled.
Mhm.
Um, and it's just crazy that like if you get in the right mindset of who you're talking to, it that way you know who you're actually talking to and where they're at. Like um, he was so focused on YouTube and
Mhm.
Facebook. It's like your customers aren't there, right? Your customers are on Facebook or they're reading the newspaper or on TV. They're not on YouTube. I
Mhm.
hate to tell you this. So marketing is such a huge avenue that
Mhm.
you need to really sit down and refine who you're talking to and where they're getting their stuff from. Um, and that's where we start in our businesses. We start everyone, regardless if they're a client with us or not. Um, with our consultation, it's just $100, and we could sit down and be like, look, this is who's your customer, what's their pain points, what are you looking at, like, and figure out where you even need to put your marketing dollars just so it's more effective. And especially with all this COVID stuff going on, I know, I don't know, have y'all been affected with COVID?
Mhm.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we fortunately have not been very affected by COVID. I know we've had less clients come on over the last 12 months, but that was kind of expected because it's it's COVID. Like a lot of service businesses aren't getting a lot of business right now. A lot of brick and mortars aren't, and so with all this, we've been trying to help as much as we can with this
Mhm.
stuff. Just trying to give away as much as we can. Like, don't do this, please, for the love of God. Just do this. Don't worry about doing newspaper ads. Don't worry about it. Just do Facebook ads, please.
Mhm.
It's a lot more effective. Just spend $5 a day.
Mhm.
That's all you need.
That's
Five
nothing.
dollars a day. It really isn't.
Yeah.
You know. Have y'all had any experience with like Facebook ads or anything?
Yeah. We actually advertise pretty heavily in Facebook ads.
Nice.
Google Shopping is where we spent a lot of our money. but
Really?
the shopping conversion went to like $50 per conversion, $60 per conversion, and at that point, like we're actually losing. Actually,
Yeah.
we're losing even at $20 per conversion. But
Yeah,
Facebook
especially
is
the
a lot lower.
signs too.
Mhm.
Yeah. I know Google, um they've been having a lot of problems with bots
Mhm.
scrolling and clicking on ads recently. So maybe that's what's going on with y'all. Do y'all use like a click ad block or anything like that?
Not really.
Y'all need to look into do like click cease or something like that for your
Mhm.
ads because
I get ads for that all the time.
it
Clixies on
it
Facebook,
works.
everywhere. Yeah.
It works. It really does. It works great. We use it for almost all of our clients, and they do a great job with
Oh
what
wow.
they do.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah, that's
but
awesome.
dude, Facebook ads has really changed too. Like,
Mhm.
I know for a fact, like we have some realtor clients, and 2010 Facebook ads compared to now Facebook ads for realtors completely different. Like even now, with the Facebook Marketplace too, as a business owner, you can't post anything on Facebook. You used to through your business page, but now you can't. You have to actually have like a commerce profile, which is crazy to think about because they're like, yeah, just do whatever, and now they're like, no, you have to have this. You have to do this in a certain way. And make sure you're not violating discrimination laws and everything. Is like,
Yeah.
okay, I'm just trying to sell this T-shirt.
Yeah.
That's all I'm trying to do. It's just a red T-shirt with a cool logo that I thought was cool. I want to sell to friends, and no, you have to do this. Um, and I know for like realtors, you have to be like, if you even want to consider doing Facebook ads, you have to be in the special ad category, and that's frustrating for us as an advertisers because that really limits you on what you're able to do because you're not able to do any sort of demographics really at all. It's anyone
Mhm.
of any race and gender, which is fine because we don't discriminate on that anyways. But the age, come on, like maybe we want to look for more sellers. Maybe we wanted to be in the upper range. We didn't care about the race and gender or anything, but we
Mhm.
wanted to be 40 to 65, or
Mhm.
we're looking for buyers. We're looking for someone in the 20s, 20 to 35s. But it's just kind of crazy how everyone's like, you need to do it this way.
Mhm.
Okay, all right. I guess I'll do that. So.
So at the end of the day, what it kind of sounds like, and you touched on this a little bit earlier when you were talking about like very beginning, you started talking about how you have to know who your customers are. I think
Hmm.
from our perspective, it's extremely important to know who our customers are. And they happen to
Yes.
be like 25 to 45 males. It's
Hmm.
just, it is what it is. That's our customer demographics. So when we kind of tailor our website, we tailor our Facebook and the ads and stuff, we kind of keep that demographics in mind because we need to solve the problems that they're having. As our business is business to business, so is yours.
Hmm.
So we're having to focus not on the consumer side, but how the business owner thinks. How do they, like, what do they want? What value do they want? And even with Google, when they're constantly changing their algorithm, the
Hmm.
fundamentals you said is still the same, but these little small tiny details change maybe 180 degrees. So it
Yep.
was this way one day, and then the next day it's a completely different way. And a lot of those keyword dense sites got taken lower and lower off Google. Sometimes it might even got banned, blacklisted from Google if
Hmm.
it didn't meet the criteria. But one thing that is very helpful to understand for anybody watching this or to anybody who sees it in the future, like the way to improve on visibility and stuff like that is just provide genuine value to the viewer and to
Yeah.
the user. That at the end of the day, even if the algorithms change a little bit here and there, as long as I mean, it's still very important to know the science behind it because otherwise it's like shooting in the dark. But
Hmm.
finding a way to provide genuine value to the user and doing either videos for YouTube and having a lot of videos, all solving different problems the viewer may have, or addressing some things that they're interested in. Or if it's a website, you have a blog where I have a bunch of different pages with 300, 500 word articles giving a genuine description on what the user might be searching for. Because if it's just a wall of text with no value, then the user's not going to get anything from it. They'll go to the site, oh, it's not interesting, and they go to back to the search page and find the next person.
Yep. Yeah, even with that, like 300 and 500 word blog articles just don't cut it anymore.
Mhm.
Like, you know,
You gotta
if
be
you're
fast.
really writing original content that helps
Mhm.
provide information to the user, we're talking 2,500 words at minimum. Just because, like, go in depth about it. If you're passionate about fencing, for instance, like we had a 3,000 word article just about the
Wow.
posts,
Mhm.
just about the post, how to correctly do it in different types of soil at that. Like, everywhere's different, but it's just kind of like, if you're really really interested in getting the blogging to, or even ranking up into your certain thing, like this last Google algorithm change, they started indexing passages, the actual passages. They're not indexing just the whole article anymore. They're actually doing the passages of the article. And so now one article can rank for multiple keywords,
Yeah.
which is super powerful, because,
Right.
like, like, if you're talking about how to set a post for a fence in red clay, then this is how you do it. And then, like, later on down, like, this is how you do it in black clay, right? Or this is how you do it in sand, right? And it's all like, the whole article is about how to set a post, right? Now you can actually rank on how to set a post in sand, which, mind blowing, because you used to have to actually make a separate page
Yep.
or separate article about it, and it's only like yay long.
Mhm.
And so now it's like, Google actually scroll them down, highlight the thing right there, and say, "This is your answer."
Mhm.
And then you're seeing it more and more pop up as this algorithm gets smarter too. Because, like, even in, I saw an example the other day. Oh God, what was it? It was in Maine, U.S. Um, it was an article. It was something about, the cowfish,
Mhm.
or something like, it's some fishing thing. And I saw, there's, like, apparently there's a fish up in the Northeast called a cow, or something like that. I don't exactly remember, but it was such a specific thing that region only talked about, because apparently that fish is only specific to that region, that it was lost in Google. And
Hmm.
now with the new update, it's articles that haven't been performing, for that specific topic, are starting to rank high at that, because Google's just gotten smarter. It's like, oh, you're meaning this fish over here in England, not this other fish. Not, I think it was cow fishing.
Mhm.
You're not talking about this weird sport that happens over here. Over here, you're talking about an actual fish. So here you go. Here's the content and how to catch a cowfish or whatever. I think that's what it was. Now I'm curious. So yeah, cow fishing.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, and so it's just kind of like, Google gets smarter every day, and people aren't talking, like, especially people in the industry. Like, we need to have more open communication just between ourselves, because there's so much content out there. There's
Mhm.
so much discrepancies too. Just be like, one group is like, no, 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 it's only keywords, and other groups are like, no, 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 you need to do nothing but original
Yeah.
content. And I'm over here like, you need to do both.
Everything. Yeah.
Yeah.
You gotta
So,
do everything.
it's crazy, but, like, like what you said with the figuring out who it is. Like, my customer avatar is the pretty much the same. Like, it's 25 to 45, and anyone that's a business owner.
Mhm.
And it's mostly males. I hate to say it, but it's mostly male.
Mhm.
But it's crazy, because when I first started out, we didn't have that. I just took on whoever, more into website, and that's what a lot of people do at the very beginning of their career is they just start, which is great. I'm fantastic. Congratulations for starting your own business, especially in this crazy time. You're ahead of most of the population, and you will find probably the best tax benefits ever owning your own business, and the best like everything's greater, a lot better, whatever your own independent contractor or your own business owner, uh, and that's just crazy. Congratulations, that's awesome. The To whoever's listening, if you're open to business, but I stress to you, don't wait 5 years to do your customer avatar. Do it now. Do it in the evening, right? Like I figured out my customer avatar at 12 o'clock at night because I was so like, who is my customer avatar? Who am I talking to? And I had bills to pay the next day, and I'm like, I don't understand what's going on. I don't understand where my leads are coming from. And so 12 o'clock at night, I couldn't sleep. I was stressed out, and I had my house bill to pay. I had all my utilities to pay the next day, and I'm like, I have no idea where all this stuff's coming from. But once I figured it out, that next morning I hit it hot and heavy with marketing, and I closed 6 deals that day. And I was like, oh, thank God, like, thank you, Lord, for helping me out here and helping me, take the time, to figure out who your customer avatar is because it'll change your life. It really will. And now uh, we did our first 7-figure year this last year, which I've been ecstatic about. Now I can actually retire if I want to. I don't have to worry about it. Everything is running on itself. I don't have to be a part of it. I can do more things like this where I'm talking to cool people like you and just talk about the industry and just be like, this is what's going on. No one's talking about it because I can finally get back to the mission of my business and not have to worry about where my next paycheck's coming from because I've taken care of my avatar. So yeah, you're right. You've nailed it on the head. Like you gotta know who your avatar is, because if not, you're just shooting in the dark, um, or you're wasting money. It's crazy because there's so many different avenues that you have to do. And even with Google, I don't know if you know that Google changed their whole review policy this last week. Google reviews are actually even more important now than they ever have been in the past, which makes sense because
Yeah,
yeah, I don't know the last thing you probably like. What was the last thing you looked up on Google?
restaurants all the time.
Yeah, yeah, like
Always
all
look
the
at reviews.
time,
Always
like
look at reviews.
yeah, and then you look at the number of reviews, and then like, but at the same time, you don't want a perfect 5-star either. Like, if I had I don't know. For me personally, whenever I'm looking on reviews, like a restaurant, for example, and they have 300 reviews with a perfect 5-star, it's like,
Mhm.
uh, do they really have a
Yeah,
perfect
I know,
five
right?
star, or are all
Mhm.
these bots?
Mhm.
Because no one's that good.
Mhm.
Um, and except maybe if you're a grandma shop that's just asking, and everyone's like, okay, grandma, I'll do it for you. Here's 5 stars. Because I've seen examples of that where uh, there was a company in Kentucky, and they it was run by all grandmothers, and it
Mhm.
was a tea shop. And they, at the end of the thing, they're like, could you pretty please, for your little old grandma here, could you pretty please leave us a review? And they're like, yes, of course, grandma, I'll leave you a review. You know, and because that's just the service they had. They
Mhm.
were so like, and everything. It's just, uh, of course, you're gonna have that, but you have a lot of like flashback against it because people are like, "There's no way they have a perfect 5-star.
Mhm.
There's no way." Um, And then of course you have the other end of that spectrum where you have no reviews, and
Mm-hmm.
everyone's like,
It's even worse.
yeah, I don't know about you.
Mm-hmm.
I know, like for us, we've been running into it personally because, um, we just started on our Google reviews and trying to get them up because we've been doing it. We've been doing nothing but referrals for so many years, and we had a guy call us the other day. He's like, I didn't know y'all were a legitimate company because y'all only had like 5 reviews online. It's like, yes, we know, we're working on it. It's kind of the cobblers kids don't have great shoes.
Mm-hmm.
That whole story, the cobbler doesn't have good shoes, but it's crazy because it changes every single day. If you're
Mm-hmm.
not on top of it, you miss out.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I know for like signage too, like y'all change a lot too.
Every day.
Yeah, like what's been one of the like most recent trends in signage?
Well, it's a heavily seasonal business in a lot of ways because the signs that we market to, let's say for instance, lawn care. Lawn care is seasonal by nature.
Hmm.
So is pressure washing. Those are some of our biggest demographics. So those two, whenever it's slow, we start to slow down tremendously. So we have to find ways to offer value that can bring in business. Because when we add on a lot of employees to keep up with the busy times, then
Hmm.
we have all these people on staff when it's slow. So
Yep.
we have to kind of offset that. And the way that we try to do that is we kind of diversify. So we also do t-shirts, custom t-shirts.
Hmm.
And with t-shirts, we do a lot of merch, like business to consumer stuff during
Oh,
Christmas
good.
time. Like, fan stuff, original stuff that's like novelty t-shirts and stuff. And we sell those and it kind of helps offset the slow season for the signs.
Hmm.
And we make up for it in the t-shirts. Other ways to do so is just trying to find where our customers are at. So there's a one thing that's for sure: people are always going to need printing, and it's
Hmm.
hard to think about our demographics not purchasing at Christmas time, even though that's what our numbers say. In my mind, and in Kwan's mind, Kwan's the owner, we talk about it all the time. Like these people are ordering, or there are people who are ordering. So how do we find those people who are ordering? People don't pause their business for Thanksgiving and Christmas, even though
Hmm.
that's what our numbers say. So we have to kind of get creative and find new ways of finding them. We have to find new ways to incentivize them to order. So we kind of offer sales around the holidays time. We offer sales like a few different points of the year, but a lot of times it's not just necessarily a discount. It's like different promotions. So we have some things coming up where we want to engage the audience, and that's what we want to focus on this year tremendously is to engage our customers. As part of the whole reason why we're starting this YouTube series is we want to provide value that isn't just about printing. We want to
Hmm.
provide value to our individuals, our network, and a lot of people are entrepreneurs like yourself and spend a lot of time listening to podcasts or watching videos on success or like a lot
Yep.
of those things that entrepreneurs like to do. So we have a database of customers who are just like you who can provide genuine value. So that's kind of what we're transitioning into as well. And in addition to that, we want to do like giveaways, contests, and different ways like Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, they're all competing for one thing, and that's the viewer's attention.
Yep.
So if you're on YouTube, then you're not on Facebook. If you're on Instagram, you're not on YouTube. Even WhatsApp is on this bandwagon now.
Yep.
So it's all about like what value are they providing to this user that warrants them spending more time. If we're providing value to our customers who they can actually get something from it, improve themselves, great. Then we
Hmm.
win. We win the customer's attention in that way. But it's like we're actually providing genuine value. So that's some of the biggest changes that we got coming up for this year.
That's awesome. Like, yeah, like engagement now, like the whole top of mind principle has become more and more apparent. Even Google is getting on the bandwagon with their whole Google snippets,
Mm-hmm.
and the no click searches. Like, those kind of like little minute things. They're trying to just keep people on the site. Just keep it on the site.
Mm-hmm.
That's more time that you're spending searching. That's more time that they can charge you for ads. That's more time, and that's what it all comes down to. It all comes down to money, the root cause. That's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, you're right. Like a lot of people, especially me as an entrepreneur, and you as a business owner and entrepreneur, like I spend most of my time listening to news, listening to podcasts or other items that I don't know about. Like I just got off a podcast that was talking about the whole GME stock market and stuff, just because I'm like, well, how is that going to affect me and my
Mhm.
business? And I'm like, I don't personally want to get into it. I think it's funny as all get out, and it's funny that all these predator stock market guys are getting together and rallying the stock market up. I hope it doesn't crash the
It
stock
will.
market. I don't think it will, but
Nope.
that's just a fear of mine. Just like, oh, great, now I've got to figure out how to pay my people with silver and gold. I hope they can get care packages, whatever. But I don't think that's going to happen whatsoever. But just knowing what's going on in the world is so important right now. Any
Yeah.
business owner, like, I know for me personally, I do a lot of just listening on podcasts or even reading. I don't know. The last good book I was reading was the Think and Grow Rich series. I don't know if you've ever read that.
Yeah.
Have you? It's a
Yeah.
good
The
book.
original. Hmm.
It's a really good book. I just started it, so I'm still going through it. So far it's pretty good.
Hmm.
Uh, you know,
So a little bit earlier, you mentioned that you had 35 employees and you started in 2017. So can you
mhm.
tell a little bit about your experience going from a one-man operation to having 35 employees? That's a
It's
lot.
a headache. It
Yeah.
really is. It's a headache and a half. My main thing is that like I was so worried about taxes at the very beginning of it, and uh, it was actually a good friend of mine who has no interest in building a business or anything like that. And I was just telling him about my stress about hiring this new employee, the taxes, the insurance, all the laws and everything. He's like, just get an accountant.
Hmm.
I'm like, what are you talking about? An accountant? I had to pay them too. They're like, just get an
Hmm.
accountant. Like my dad, his dad was a business owner. He's like, my dad spends thousands on an accountant, and he says that was the best decision he'd ever done.
Hmm.
And I agree with him. Like, get yourself an accountant. Don't worry about it. Just have them manage everything, and they just tell you how much you have to spend,
Hmm.
which is fantastic for me. And so I'm like, okay, I want to do this. Well, I'm going to go talk to my accountant. All right, what do you think about this? What's my tax liabilities? What is all this? How can I take care of my employees? Like, what is this? How is this going to affect me and my business financially? And then from there, I'm like, I need HR, and so
Hmm.
I outsource my HR, like someone to deal with all the regulatory stuff and make sure that they have their 401k and their HSAs and their maternity leave stuff, because I don't have time to understand, let alone learn about it. I have to
Hmm.
keep on top of what I do, and so like that that's what I've learned from hiring mostly is find people that can help you that are a lot smarter than you are in those subjects. And like, I outsource all my HR and I outsource all my accounting
Hmm.
because they're a lot more smarter than I am when it comes to those two things. And it saves me thousands upon thousands of dollars a month just by doing that. And and I don't have to worry about it. I don't have to worry about this new regulations coming down from the pike from the
Hmm.
federal government saying that I need to provide a minimum wage of 925. To the new stimulus program that's coming out. I don't know if y'all saw that too.
Hmm.
Uh,
Not yet.
yeah, it's part of the proposal for the new stimulus package. Is
Okay.
raising the minimum wage to $15 over the next 4 or 5 years.
Hmm.
Um, which I think is probably going to kill a lot of businesses if it gets
Hmm.
passed. But
For sure.
just I couldn't when I was first starting out. I couldn't have done $15 an hour. There's no way. Um, but now it doesn't. That's fine. Whatever. But yeah, just outsource what you're doing. And like when it comes to recruiting, there are so many great application review recruiting platforms out there, and so many great like different avenues, but you don't need it. Look internally. Like
Mm-hmm.
seriously, like I've I've had better staffing because I've promoted internally than I have hiring exterior, because
Mm-hmm.
they know my business, they know how we work, right? And they're like, and John, who's my first employee ever, right? He was the first guy out of the gate. I paid him $2,500 a month because I was like, dude, I'm getting started. This is what I can pay you. And he said, that's fine. I was like, okay. And and he's hired several people for me, and they've been great hires. But at the same time, I've also had terrible hires.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure y'all have had your fair share of terrible hires. And finding the right people that match your brand is a nightmare and a half, because it's like, do you match my views? Do you match my company's views? Do you what do you say and promote on social media? Because uh, if you're not looking when you're recruiting, if you're not looking at their social media, why?
Mm-hmm.
You don't have to. You don't have to deny their application because of it, but that gives you an idea of who you're talking
Mm-hmm.
to. And so like I know for me, when I was first starting out, when I was looking for a job in college before I started all this, I and before this thing started taking off, I was applying for jobs, and I was so terrified about what the employees or employers were going to think about me. I took it upon myself to never post on social media, and now that's still true today. I don't post on social media. I don't want Big Brother knowing what I do, and I don't want anyone else knowing what I'm doing, because that's my stuff. And if they want to do business, they'll find me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and but like if you're with signage and stuff, y'all need to be very active on social media. Like super active, just talking, doing polls. Uh, YouTube polling right now is the broken mechanic on their community. So if you have 1,000 subscribers, use the YouTube community, because
All right.
it is broken as beyond all get out, like super broken. I don't know. Do you know the Minecraft player named Dream? Have you
No.
ever heard of him? Okay,
Mm-mm.
well, he's a Minecraft player. He's recently exploded over 2020. He went from 100,000 to 1.8 million or something like
Wow.
that, which is crazy. And you would think it's all organic. No, he's been posting on his community forum twice a month, every month. And the way YouTube is working right now is with that community forum is very dumb, because they've been trying to everyone to get into it, do it, and so they've been like, even if you like a certain page within a certain realm, like for instance, hydroponics, right, which is such a weird out there thing. If you were to look up one video about hydroponics, you're about to get slammed with all these different
Mm-hmm.
channels and things like that, and community posts and things like that. And it's crazy, because I saw a statistic the other day where it's on the engagement side, you have one out of every 20 to 40 engage on your brand. And so the even if you had one out of every 20 being engaged on your brand, that could very quickly turn into millions of people seeing your brand just by
Yeah.
one community post.
Mm-hmm.
And it's nuts just how
Uh,
broken
mhm.
that system is. Because I think the statistics I saw with Dream was he would post one and it would have 100,000 interactions or engagements on that post. If you take the 1 to 20 scale, you're talking 20 million people have seen that
Yeah.
post. This is a channel of 100,000 people, or I think this was a little bit larger when he was at like 650 or something like that. And 20 million people are seeing this post.
That's a lot.
Like, even if you had 1% conversion to where they subscribe to that, that's blowing your channel out proportion. Just nuts. Um, so that's why I'm saying that's such a broken thing, and they're gonna patch it soon, hopefully, for the love of
Yeah,
God.
they will.
Just because it's so it's so broken, so broken. But just finding those little nuances and sticking to the fundamentals. But yeah, anyways, sorry, I got down on a tangent.
Not work.
But the recruiting side, like Indeed's great. I love them to death. Their auto filtering with chests and things like that really gets you to know who the applicant is. But I stand by the old school. Get them in a video. Let's talk.
Mm-hmm.
Let's find out who you're talking to and go with my gut. Um, even with us, we have a very intensive recruiting. I don't know about y'all, but we have at least 4 interviews with the person.
Yeah,
You
it's
know,
intense.
it's intense, and
Mhm.
anyone that gets through it, it's like, whoa, this is
Yeah.
intense. And even then, like, on our side, we don't. You're not a full employee until 6 months in.
Mm-hmm.
You're a 1099 contractor. You have to prove yourself, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And I think a lot more businesses are going that direction now.
We do.
Yeah, it's just so hard to find good staff.
Really is.
It's so hard,
Mm-hmm.
um, especially now with the newer generation coming into the workforce, the 18 and 19-year-olds. I recruited one kid right out of high school. She was a social media influencer, and so I wanted her opinion on what's going on socially, so we could stay up on the date,
Mm-hmm.
and for her to be our social manager, part of our social marketing team, social media management marketing. Um, Terrible employee, absolutely terrible. She didn't show up on time, even though she literally had to walk to her living room to get to her computer. And even then, she would leave 6 to 7 times in the day, or she'd be unavailable 6 or 7 times during the day. And it's like, what are you doing? I'm
Mm-hmm.
paying you to work. What are you doing?
Mm-hmm.
And or I don't know if y'all run into that kind of stuff. I'm sure y'all have, where
Yeah.
it's just you can't find good help.
Work ethic is incredibly difficult. Like we experience that all the time. We go through multiple interviews. We do a lot of different things because there's a bunch of people out there who say hire slowly, fire quickly, and we do that whole 1099 thing too. But we also we're very rigorous in our training. I mean, in our onboarding process.
Mm-hmm.
But we also try to incentivize equally as good, because if you find a good help, if you could find the right person, incentivize them to stay with the company and give them an opportunity to grow. Well, I'm speaking from our perspective. What we do
Mm-hmm.
is we give them an incentive. We give them incentive programs. We give them compensation plans, leadership opportunities, and like you mentioned earlier, promote
Yeah.
from within. We
Yep.
do that day in, day out. We don't hire management level from outside. We hire
Oh yeah.
everybody
No.
entry level and work their way up, and to even be like executive level people. We have those opportunities available for the person who wants it enough. And if it's because of them that the company is doing so well, or that department's doing so well, then reward them. So that's kind of
Yeah.
our philosophy.
Yeah. Exactly. Like, we have a whole bonus structure on our end. Like, if you outperform your duties, you get that amount of time that you presented times 100. So, like, for instance, if you put in 6 hours of work, like, extra, right? We classify that as 600 extra dollars going in your pocket, right?
Mhm.
Or, like, say you land this massive client, you're going to be rewarded heavily, right? Because, like, I just for those kind of go getters, they're so hard to find. I agree with you. They gotta be compensated, either with time or with money,
Mhm.
because don't be selfish. If Definitely encourage them to keep going. Um, I know for like our account managers, they're a base plus commission, which has been really popular. Because everyone, whenever you're a salesman, I don't know if you've ever, I'm assuming you've been a salesman at some point. Every business owner has. Just knowing that you're at least going to be getting $3,500 a month or $4,000 a month, like that's your bare minimum. You know you're going to be getting that. Like I've had a lot better performance on my sales side just because they know that they're secure. They can
Mm-hmm.
pay, they can make their bills, you
Okay.
know, but they still have a sales quota they have to meet,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Like don't just give them a free bone. Like make sure you have other things and put them on an improvement plan if they're not doing well cuz they may have just had a bad month,
Mm-hmm.
or like with this whole COVID thing, like our sales went down bad.
Mm-hmm.
And so, I didn't cut them loose cuz we had enough to take care of them, and they've worked harder than they have ever worked harder before because we're taking care of our people. All right, and it's crazy because my employees have brought in have done the like we say, like we're okay, guys. We're gonna be looking, guys and gals. We're gonna be looking for a new position to take care of this problem that we're having, and they actually go out and look for people that they know
Hmm.
that would actually probably fit. And those have been probably the best hires I have ever gotten. Are those kind of referral from the employees? Um, it's kind of heavy handed too at the same time because you're like you always hear you have to have your foot in the door in order to
Mm-hmm.
get a job. Just applying somewhere without a foot in the door
Mm-hmm.
is not as effective as it used to be. And I have to say it's kind of true.
Yeah.
Um, if you have a lot heavier influence on me if uh, I have an employee that says, "Hey, this guy's really good at what he does."
Mm-hmm.
All right, well, I know him. I trust this employee.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and if they're saying they're good, then
Mm-hmm.
why not? So, but yeah, like uh, the whole HR and recruiting and everything is such a huge topic too, just like marketing. That like even doing one video is not doesn't do it justice because there's just so many nuances to go with it. But yeah, the major problem with it is just finding those people that have good work ethic, especially now with everyone working at home. I don't do. Do you also have stuff in the shop there?
Yeah,
Like,
we do.
yeah, I'm sure y'all have to social distance and wear masks and do all that junk.
Yep.
But we had an office at the very beginning of this, and I'm just like, just go home, work from home, and even some of the best employees I had, like their work ethic tanked when
Mm-hmm.
they got home. Um, and I think my biggest thing was, like I understand it. You have your kids at home. Like I have a 2-year old that during all this she was running amok and destroying everything. Was right here on all my interviews or all my client calls or on my shoulder or whatever. Like I get it. It's life.
Mm-hmm.
That's everyone. Everyone has pets. Everyone has children, and if you don't, then you have some sort of distraction, whether it's YouTube or social media or something. It's just life. And I, the best thing that I have found for my people that have been directly affected by work ethic is just talking to them. Like, look, dude, what's going on? You used to be my top performer in sales. Now you're at the low end of the leaderboard. What's going on? It's
Mm-hmm.
like I just can't work because of my child. It's like I get it. I'll give you some leeway. And like I think that speaks volumes to so many employees because they're like, he didn't have to do that. He could have just fired me and moved on. But like especially that we kind of all have to take care of each other. Sorry, my dog was barking at me. Well, life. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You're just talking about that.
So it just kind of. It's kind of funny. But the other thing that I found with work ethic from home, especially being virtual, is we have our own email server, right,
Mhm.
through Google, Google Google My Business or Google Business,
Yeah.
and
G
I think
Suite.
yeah, the G Suite, and some people have the Microsoft Office stuff.
Mhm.
There's a way that you can actually limit to what you want your employees to do on that. Talk to your employees first, of course, but
Mhm.
uh, when we will talk to our employees and be like, okay, look, you're spending way too much time on YouTube.
Mhm.
Like we're gonna need to cut down your time on YouTube
Mhm.
while you're on your account. And they're like, all right, sorry about that. And you do it. You make sure that you do that. But on the other end, like we have our YouTube marketers. Of course, they're gonna be on YouTube a lot.
Yeah. Yep.
You know, and so you can't really restrict them, but you can restrict them in other ways. Like, please stay on task.
Mhm.
Um, I know whenever we had to, when we went virtual, um, I promoted one of my best um, quality assurance, right? Because if I'm assuming y'all have a quality assurance guy or
Mhm.
gal, and we do too. We have a whole department, and so I promoted one of them to be a quality assurance for work ethic, and so her job is to randomly pop on your screen and be like, "Hey, how you doing? You staying on task? Do you need any help? Do you need anything from us, from corporate or anything like that? Do you need what do you need to be successful? Or having scheduled times like, please get on your meeting at 8 a.m. to get your workflow,
Mhm.
or look at your workflow, look at Asana, or look at Slack, whichever one you're using. We use Slack.
Mhm.
Um, so yeah, get those. But if you're going virtual with any business, get those kind of things set up for you. Like, especially with brick and mortar now. I don't know if y'all know this, but brick and mortar, and this might actually help y'all. Uh, Facebook just rolled out their commerce platform for businesses. And so that's where you can actually list your products on Facebook and sell straight off Facebook.
Mhm.
Um, and that's incredibly powerful. Still limited, of course,
Mhm.
but it's incredibly powerful because now you're not having to take them off the Facebook site. They're
Yeah.
onto your web page that may not load quickly, or your payment systems are down, or whatever. There's no
Mhm.
problem. Or they get distracted and go back, or they're like, I don't want to do that, and go back.
Mhm.
And I noticed, like, just doing that has been helpful. Just taking care of your people around you, and they'll refer good staff to you every single time. You get a couple duds every now and again. The brother-in-law or the distant cousin that was promised to be the world champion in whatever,
Mhm.
or the third cousin 8 times removed, or
Mhm.
you get some duds in there. But I think with that too, as far as the firing, like, yes, like I agree with you with the hire slowly, fire quickly. If they're not a good fit with you, get them out of there, because I think the worst thing for any business to do is to have their their whole culture become toxic.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. We haven't. Thankfully, we haven't been able to. We haven't experienced that yet. I'm sure y'all probably have
Mhm.
with signage, because you hire a lot of minimum wage, right? With
No,
the
we don't hire minimum wage, but
Oh, good.
it is so starting out. It can be on the lower end,
Hmm.
but then we give them rapid promotions to hire. So that's kind of how we filter. Like we start them in at a X salary, but they
Hmm.
have the incentive to get to a lot more, but they have to perform. So it's kind of like a trade-off. Come in at
Yep.
entry level, and you have the opportunity to make this, and it's just all a matter of performance-based goals. So if they hit it, then great, we're paying them more because they're proving themselves.
Yeah. And I think, like, that's great. Like that's fantastic. But I know I worked in a place where there was this guy. He was so toxic to the workplace. Like I hated working there. And and I was a good worker. I have a good work ethic, or at least I think I have good work ethic. And there are some days where I don't have work ethic whatsoever because I just want to stay in bed and watch Netflix and figure out what's going on with the stock market or watch some YouTube videos or whatever. We all have those kind of off days. And especially with your employees, they have off days too. They're human.
Mhm.
Everyone's human. Uh, but there was this. He was so toxic. He would constantly belittle you, constantly like you're not doing this right, even though the manual says that you're supposed to do it this way. And I think a lot of that was from just he was so insecure about himself that it was toxic to everyone around him. And you could tell because I lasted 3-4 months at that job just because he was just so toxic to the work
Mhm.
environment that I just didn't want to work there anymore. And this was a period in my time where, like, uh, this was also it was in college still. This was my senior year in college, I think. Um, and like I needed the money, like I had tuition to pay, uh,
Mhm.
or I guess I was taking out a loan. I had to pay that loan, and so I was like, I don't want to work here. I don't. The money's not worth it. And the more and more I've done in business, the more I realize like it doesn't just affect your employees.
Mhm.
It doesn't. It start if it's bad enough, it'll start sweltering out into your community and into your
Mhm.
customer base, and just becomes this cancer that you can't get rid of because
Mhm.
of whatever. Like I think like we did have one instance of where that was growing, where this guy was starting to become toxic. Um, he was the best web designer we had on staff. I fired him immediately because I didn't want that to
Right.
get to my customers. Like I don't care if you're the best in the world. I
Mhm.
don't care if you invented the dang thing. If you're toxic to the
Mhm.
community that is inside my business, I'm cutting you out of here.
Yeah.
You know, and so like as far as the firing for aspiring business owners, for current business owners, or whoever's watching this, figure out who's your toxics, right?
Mhm.
If you're having a problem with, like, if you had a great year last year, right, but you're starting to go down very steadily, like you're starting to go down, figure out why.
Yeah.
Like don't just sit by like, why is my marketing not working? Why is like I'm doing the marketing and everything is going through, but they're not doing sales. Figure out why. Get in the trenches. Like I know for me, like I pick up an account every now and again, just to make sure that all the processes are going the way I want it to. And so, do that. Like, pick up a sale, go take them through the whole course, make sure that everything's working correctly, and then if it is, great. If not, then all right. But we also have like a comment box where where any employee can post anonymously towards us, the executive staff, and they could post any problems that they have,
Mhm.
right? Um, and especially whenever we were in the office, we had an actual box where you could slip the comments in. And I know it sounds weird, like you have a comment box,
No, we're gonna make
like
one.
do y'all do that?
Yeah, we're going to. We actually have plans to do that this year.
Yeah, best decision ever because like that's how we figured out that that designer was so toxic, right?
Mhm.
The other designers were putting in like we're having problems with this in the design market, like in the design team, like there's someone toxic in here, like I can't do my work because of this person's so toxic, or like this person keeps interrupting me while I'm in the zone, or
Mhm.
like while I'm trying to work, this guy just keeps talking about random nonsense when we need to be focusing. That's how we found out,
Mhm.
right? and having that open communication, be like, look, guys, stay on task, please, right? And then if it keeps getting worse, you get in there, you say, okay, what's going on? Why aren't y'all performing, right? And don't do it in front of everybody.
Yeah,
Take
ever.
take take the staff out. Just ask them directly, what's going on? What's happening? Tell
Mhm.
me. You're not going to get in trouble. Tell me. And like that's been probably the best advice. Like that comment box. Like now we have a virtual one, and I think it's through Google Docs.
Okay.
Uh, it's very simple to set up. You don't have to put the name on there. You don't have to put email on there. You don't have to do anything. You could just fill it out, and you only get one per month. That's it. Um, and there's like, or you get to fill it out one time. I think that's what it was. You get to fill it out one
Mhm.
time, and that's been successful. So now we're actually like everything's good, or like we even had where like um, one of our employees, he was one of the account managers. They one of his clients asked if we do oh god, what was it? What was it? Oh, it was Hulu ads. Sorry, it was
Uh-huh.
Hulu ads. And they just asked we're like, what's Hulu ads? And that we figured out a whole new market that we could be in just by this account manager saying, "Hey, do we even do this? Like, or this is a request from a client. Can we get in this?" We're like, "Yeah, let's figure it out. Let's figure out what we because that's customer feedback, and there's a
Yeah.
whole different thing for that. If you want to do customer feedback, you could do emails, email templates, and email chains, and reviews, and things like that, or just straight up asking your clients, like, what's some feedback, so that we can improve our service for you next time. It's
Mhm.
simple. Um, and it's just it's kind of crazy, but I don't know. Have y'all ever done where uh you actually start looking for like if you're looking for like a recruiter or anything like that, have you ever started where you start with an MLM,
Yeah.
multi-level marketing?
Funny story. That's actually how the owner of the business found me because I was doing multi-level marketing and
Yeah.
he saw what I was doing over there. And I didn't get anything from that except a lot of life skills that I took with me,
Mm-hmm.
like networking, talking to people. Um, like there's a lot of like understanding how business works and how like the chain of like income, like all of that stuff I learned. And they also had personal development meetings
Mm-hmm.
twice a week. So I would attend these personal development meetings and I would take everything that I learned there and I use it to this day.
Yep.
So very
Yeah.
helpful.
Yeah. My COO, my chief executive officer or chief operations officer, he was an MLM guy.
Hmm.
And uh he was a badass recruiter for them. Like super badass. He had 50, 60 people being recruited on his MLM. He made a ton of money on it. But he was getting burned out.
Hmm.
And I'm like, dude, you're rocking it over there. Can you just come teach me some things? Right. And the more and more I learned from him, the more like that MLM stuff, like everyone's like, but like even I like I I joined an MLM shortly after hiring him just because they teach so many different things that people are like you don't understand until
Hmm.
you're in it.
Hmm.
Um, like prospecting, you don't understand how like these guys got it down to a science, right? Like they've got scripts and things that are just like minute details. Like don't put an exclamation mark at the end of your sentence because that's off-putting. It's like I thought it was to portray excitement. No,
Yeah.
that's not positioned. You're not doing. Oh God, I keep forgetting my words today, man. It's positioned.
Mhm.
It's an alternative of that. Anyways, and so it just like wow, these guys got it down to science when it comes to like B2B sales. I've been using that too on my end. Just be like, I've been learning this and that, how to prospect business owners that are like, these guys actually need our service. Let's reach
Mhm.
out to them. Be like, hey, um, if you need our help, we're here for you. If not, that's totally okay. And that little 2 sentence line, you know, has driven so much business for me the last several years, just because of the statement, if not, that's okay.
Mhm.
You
Yeah, that's
know,
dope.
it'll give them a way out.
Mhm.
From a sales perspective, it gives someone a way out. And hi, Clark, my cat's stretching behind me. Uh, but it gives them a way out that if they don't want to partake in your service, then they don't have to.
Fine. Mhm.
Which is fine by you, because that means you're not wasting your time prospecting.
Mhm.
So it's kind of a give and take. But yeah, MLM, man, those guys. We've hired 4 MLMers over our time. That are 4 people on our staff are MLM, have been in MLM at some point. Uh, and those guys, every time they bring in something new. We just hired one kid that just he's. I say kid, even though I'm 25. He's 23. Or I'm 20. Yeah, I'm 20. I'm 25. I'm going on 26. My birthday's in March, so I'm
Uh-huh.
going 26. He's 23, and you know, which is crazy to think about, because I have people that are way older than me that work for me.
Mhm.
But he just came in and he said, "Why aren't you doing this? Like, why aren't you doing uh, this? Why aren't you using SMS, text messaging?" Well, we've never experimented with it. What do you mean? And what do you mean SMS text messaging? And he's like, well, here's these scripts from my old MLM that I brought over into it, and these things have really helped me during it, or helped other people during it. And so, okay, well, let's try it. We've had
Yeah.
success with others, and we sent out one at the beginning of the year, just saying Happy New Year's, right? We're here for your new goals for 2021. If you're interested, reach out. If not, that's totally okay. We had a 65% conversion on that same
Wow.
text. 65%, and then I think we had a close rate of about 22%, which is good. That's not
Still,
the
it's very
greatest.
good.
That's very good. It's very respectable. Um, and so it's 65% on that one little text message, and that was brought over from a script from an MLM.
Mhm.
Like, and like, we don't have to hire anyone from an MLM. Like, there's tons out there. Just go join one. Like, there's I know, if you're into essential oils, go look up the oily story, or not the oily story, Young Living.
Mhm.
Go look up Q Sciences. Those are both
Mhm.
MLMs. Go look up Mary Kay. That's technically an MLM.
Yeah, it is.
The Pampered Chef. That one's a good one. What's another one? What was the knife one? Is that
Cutco, Vector,
Cutco?
Vector Marketing.
Yeah, but they've been doing it for so long.
Mhm.
It's just crazy, like the things that you find with MLM. So, but
Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. So when it comes to like scaling a business, what does scaling mean to you, and like how do you what advice would you share to others regarding scaling, starting from where you were to having 35 employees, doing a seven-figure revenue year of 2020? How did you scale? What do you consider scaling, and how would you share some experience to others or advice?
yeah. So, for scaling, I've always had the mentality of, you build it, they will come. And so, the way we got started in business was by planting those seeds, for investments, websites, or whatever. And that's still our model. We'll build a seed, but the main thing is I use it as a training opportunity for my staff.
Hmm.
I'll assign a certain number of people onto the team and say, get this up to this point, right? Or get this up to 100,000 page views, converting $5,000 in monthly revenue. Get it there. Um, and so, but before, when I first started out, I had the mentality of if I build it, they will come,
Mhm.
right? And it's been very true. Like I invested in John, right, who was to be my first salesman ever, right? And that's where he started. He was my first salesman. And I said, John, I need your help getting this business going. He said, okay. And I was very upfront, and I was like, I've got 12 months of pay for you. That's all I've got, right? And after that, we're gonna be working together. We're gonna be busting our tail to get more, and we have. We've been busting our tail ever since. And every time I would reward him just by saying thank you for doing such a great job. Here's a bonus, right? And the clients that we were serving were seeing that we were taking care of our business. John was happy, right?
Mhm.
He was taken care of. And so I was able to scale with clients,
Mhm.
right? And once I got too big to where me and John couldn't do it anymore, I was able to hire more, right? And so I hired my first account manager, right? Jennifer was her name. I know 2Js were very weird, but she was very popular, right? I looked at my Facebook group, my Facebook page, my personal page, and I was looking at who's in social media all the time, who's super personal, and that's who I wanted as an account manager. And I had the idea of who I wanted, and I found Jennifer, and I reached out to her, and I was like, "Look, I need help over here. If you don't mind coming on." And I just gave her 5 clients to start, right? And she did such a great job. I gave her more, and she got more pay. I gave her more, she got more pay. And it scaled just like with you. You have performers that, as if they're doing good, they get more pay. And so we've been scaling, but it's not. Oh, I need a marketing guy, even though I don't have sales. I need a marketing guy. Let's go out here and grab this marketing guy that I need to pay 50K, but don't have anyone to take care of the sales side. You know, it's to me, you have to be very balanced with your hiring. Like if I have, I my motto is I have 3 salesmen for every one marketer, right? So like that one marketer is to provide the leads that generate for those salesmen,
Mhm.
right? And then those salesmen's job is to close them, get them to the account manager, or even if they're account managers themselves, like take care of that client. And I think to me, whenever we were scaling, a lot of my success was taking care of my people first, then my clients will take care of me,
Mhm.
and like, uh, I'm sure y'all have seen it too. Like, if a client has a good experience, then they'll tell they'll tell only a couple of people. If they have a terrible experience with one of your
Tell
staff,
everybody.
they'll tell everybody, everyone in the world, and they'll never come back, regardless of
Mhm.
what you tell them, regardless of what incentives you give them. They'll never come back because of that one bad experience.
Mhm.
And like even for me, like even yesterday, I took my wife out to dinner to celebrate the end of the month,
Mhm.
and we had a terrible waitress,
Mhm.
absolutely terrible. We saw her maybe one time the entire hour and a half we were there, maybe just one time.
Ouch.
Yeah, terrible customer service. And um, at the end of it, I called the manager over there and I said, "Could you please go find this waitress for me?" And she was like, "Yeah, sure." And I was like, "I want both of you over here so you can hear it." And the waitress was like, "What?" And she was like, "What do you want?" I was like, "We've been sitting here for an hour and a half, and we've seen you a grand total of one time." And the manager's like, "What?" And I was like, "What's wrong?" Right? Well, come to find out, her kids' daycare called and said that they couldn't take care of her because she hadn't made her payment for the week. Right? And so she was trying to figure out who can get her kid from this daycare because she's at work,
Mhm.
and her manager had no idea.
Mhm. Wow.
Now I looked at the man. I was me and my wife were pissed off at the waitress, but I felt I can't even say it, empathy for that lady right then, because I'm like, this lady doesn't have the resources and management that she needs. Why isn't that manager asking what's going on? Why, and it, I gave her a very, very nice tip, that even though she doesn't deserve it, right? Just because I knew she was having a hard time.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that comes down to, you need to be involved in your business. Whether there's working on your business, there's working in your business.
Mm-hmm.
You need to be working on your business at all times. You can't be working in it anymore.
Mm-hmm.
As a business owner, you need to be working on it, uh, making sure everything's going well, making sure your employees have everything that they need, and they'll take care of your clients. And in return, your clients will take care of you, so you
Mm-hmm.
could take even more care of your employees. And it's an ever rolling ball that it's just like building up a snowball. You start it going, and it'll just get bigger and bigger and bigger over time. And so for me, with scaling, over my time, my major problem has been customer service.
Mm-hmm.
And so, uh, like, we have our account managers and everything, but I've been pushing customer service for so long that now I actually have a customer service rep who does that for me.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and so now I'm having to make sure that she does her job, that she's pushing customer service. You need to be doing customer service, customer service, customer service. Do it this way. Make sure they're happy. Make sure to take care of them. They'll take care of us. And so when we scaled up to 10 employees, we had 5 salesmen, one, no, we had 5 salesmen, 2 marketers. That's 7. I'm trying to remember then he had me, who was working on the business, and then I had 2 quality assurance.
Mm-hmm.
So, or web develop. They also flipped to be web developers, where they took care of whatever was needed. They're kind of my float guys. And now with 35, we have, I think it's like 60% of my business is support, to
Mm-hmm.
make sure that the 30% of salesmen can get it done. And then we have 10% on executive, because that's only 90%, so 10% executive.
Mm-hmm.
My executive team have been with me since the start.
Mm-hmm.
And, yes, I've had to let a couple people go here and there, or they've left of their own volition, which is fine, because everyone gets burned out, or they get new motives in life. Like, one guy's quit and became a preacher.
Mm-hmm. Interesting.
Okay, yeah, like, that's such an opposite side of the thing, because he was a web developer. So it's kind of like, you're gonna become a preacher. You're an introvert, and you're gonna become a preacher. All right, that's gonna be very interesting. Um, and I've been to a couple of his sermons, and he's actually really good. He's good at what he does. Um, so it's just kind of like, with scaling, you have to have balance. You have to make sure your customer service is there, and everything else will fall in place. Um, when we got to 35, I was ecstatic, because that means we can do even more for our
Yeah.
clients. Um, and it's crazy, because, like, I could not have imagined to have 35 people working for me in 2017. Like, as a solopreneur or solo entrepreneur, I couldn't have imagined it at all, just because it's so daunting whenever
Mm-hmm.
you start, that it's like, I'm wearing 30 hats.
Yeah.
Um, you know, um, so I know, as an MLMer, you probably felt that way too, because not only were you marketing, you were also sales, you
Mm-hmm.
were, account management,
Mm-hmm.
you were accounting for yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you were quality assurance, you were literally everything. And I'm sure I'm nailing a lot of other people right now. Like, you're literally doing everything in the book. And
Anybody who owns a business is like that too.
yeah, exactly. And I still do to this day. Like, sometimes I have to take off my business owner hat and put on my design gloves, or my
Mhm.
design hat, or like my development hat, or my accounting hat, or oh, I've got an HR problem. Hang on, let me go over and deal with this. Um, as an or as an HR rep, like you have to have multiple hats, and you have to have some basic understanding of everything, but of everything in your business. But I think the most important out of everything is your employee service and your customer service out of everything. Like even if even if your product is subpar, your clients will come back to you because of service, right? Like the the way you treat people nowadays is so very important that it's beyond measure.
Mhm.
Um, I know um, for a fact that's true because when I was growing up, I was in the Boy Scouts of America growing up, and my dad he was a camp leader for a local Boy Scout camp, and he was charged by the council for the Boy Scouts to make this camp better. That was it. That was his only charge. And he went from maybe 10% capacity on summer camping to having a waiting list
Wow.
on it in 2 years. He had a waiting list to get into the summer camp. And he went from 30 merit badges to serving over 75 merit badges, right? And he went from 30 staff, uh, that's not including him or any of the ranger staff, to 85 plus, right? And whenever I whenever I sat down and asked him how he did it, because I was only a part of it as the staff, I never saw any of the back end or any of the executives. I asked him how he did it. He said customer service.
Wow.
And I was like, what do you mean customer service? He's like, I made it a point to go to each individual troop and ask them what's going on. Or made it a point to go to my staff and ask them what's going on.
Mhm.
And that's what grew it, because he set his standards for his employees, that it's okay for you to come tell me what's going on. It's okay if you broke something, just tell me. We'll get it fixed. It's okay if you do. It's okay if you screw up. It's okay. It's okay. You're not going to get fired unless you've killed someone, you've done this, you've done something illegal, you're embezzling from the company or whatever. Like those kind of things. Yes, fire them, please. For the love of God, don't keep them around. Uh, but he's like, it's okay. Just tell me, and we can get it fixed.
Mhm.
And that approach where like the customers can come to him, or the troop leaders can come to him and say, look, we're having a problem with this staff because he's not doing his job, he's not teaching this class, right? My dad would make the point on his next class to walk down to wherever this staff guy was and watch him work. And if he wasn't meeting up to criteria, he wouldn't pull the direct staff, he would pull the area manager, right, or
Mhm.
the department manager, and he would tell them that he needs to talk to this employee, or this staff member, and for the department head to take over his classes for the day. And then my dad would actually take him out. Uh, and my favorite thing was, there was this kid, he didn't know what he was teaching. He was supposed to be teaching first aid. He was never taught how to do first aid. He was, no one ever told him how to teach it, and so he was just kind of winging it.
Mhm.
Um, and my dad wouldn't have found out about it if he just simply didn't ask.
Yeah.
And that guy, that staff member, turned out to be one of the best staff members on his staff later on in the year, because my dad took the time to teach him what he needed to know,
Mhm.
to make sure that he knew it, to make sure that he had everything he needed to succeed, and he understood the requirements. Like,
Mhm.
he understood my dad's standards when it came to
Mhm.
customer service, and that employee improved. On the flip side, the troop leader came back. I don't know what you did, but he's teaching a lot better. Thank you.
Yeah.
Right? It doesn't have to be a public thing. He didn't have to
Mhm.
call him out.
Mhm.
He didn't have to embarrass him or strike him down with negative. Be like, you're fired because you're not doing your job right. Right? He took the time to understand what was going on, and because of that, he did this throughout the camp, and he
Mhm.
took care of the things that he needed. Right? And he told the staff, if you break it, we're gonna fix it. It's okay. But if you break it again, we're gonna have
Yeah.
problems.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, first time, shame on me. Second time, shame on you. Third time, you're out of here.
Yeah. Yeah.
3 strike rule. Because there's no need for that in business. And so, I took that principle and I applied it to my own business, and I've seen success with it. It's crazy to think about just how people feel emotionally about your business. That, like, some of my best customers, we had one about bad account manager, and one of my best accounts that I ever had, we lost.
Dang.
And he was, this guy. He was bringing in $10,000 to our company every month. That was the subscription that he was on. Was our 10K subscription, and he was a great guy. He never micromanaged us. He was a perfect client, and we put on a bad account manager, and he decided to leave us because of that account manager. Even though we had 8 years, or not 8 years, we had he was with us since 2017, right? So for 3.5 years, because he just left us. 3.5 years with him in relationships. I know his kids. I know his wife. Like, we've had dinner together. We still have dinner together, and he's like, I just can't go back with you because of that
Mhm.
that employee. The employee's no longer with us, but
Mhm.
it tells you the fact that, like, customer service is everything when you're doing B2B business,
Mhm.
because if you're not going to treat them good, they're not going to they're not going to treat your clients or your customers good. And so, with scaling, you have to make sure that your customer service is there and your employee service is there.
Mhm.
That's the biggest challenge I've had, beyond just finding good staff,
Mhm.
is making sure that everything is still up to quality. Um, and I think that's most of my days now, is um, recruiting, talking to clients, and doing put out fires,
Mhm.
uh, with clients that are angry or mad, or being a very active owner within the company. Because, like, I could just say, John, you're the CEO now. Bye. I'm
Yeah.
retired.
Mhm.
And he would do great for a while. But that's not my standard. He has a different standard than I do. And as the owner, the whole owner, um, it's my name that's on the line. It's not John's name. It's not Jennifer's name. It's not Leroy's name. It's not Jesus's name that's way down there. It's not my developer, Alex's name. It's my name. It's my business. And uh, I don't know if you've ever heard the saying, like, you can only focus on one thing at a time, and
Mhm.
everything else will start going down with time.
Yeah.
And this is the business that I don't want that happening to. I want to make sure that everything is taken care of with this business, because this is my primary income. Um, and I'm sure it is with a lot of our viewers. Our business is our income.
Mhm.
Um, and the success of ourselves is directly equivalent to the success of our business.
Mhm.
And so, uh, that's just kind of the biggest thing that I found with scaling is making sure that quality is there. I know we've really gone down and around. I've said several stories, but that's how I like to talk. Uh, that's I know I've said a lot, but that's my mind going at a million miles an hour. So, uh, but with y'all, like
Mhm.
I know y'all have to do quality assurance and everything with your signs. Are y'all doing like? Have y'all also seen that with like if you're taking care of your customers, everything else will lay in place.
Yeah, absolutely. Customer service at the end of the day is we're learning the hard way that
Hmm.
customer service is above everything else. If we don't have a good relationship with our customer, like we did a lot of transactional business over the past few years, we brought
Hmm.
in a lot of revenue, but it was like you'd be surprised at the number of people who ordered once and then we never heard from them again. It was
Yep.
like 30% of our customers had never, or no, 60% of our customers had never come back for a second order or more. And that
Wow.
number was alarming because our business to business demographics is typically in business for
Hmm.
extended periods of time. And it wasn't necessarily the service per se, but it had a lot to do with like we cornered ourselves at being the yard sign people, and we provide yard signs to customers. If it didn't work out for them, then they might think yard signs don't work and they're not going to order again. Or
Right. Yeah.
like we could take some steps for them. I can't tell you how many times I see an order come in, and the design is just a business card design, but they stretch it out to a yard sign. And
Yes.
you would go to application purposes, like knowing that the business card is meant to be viewed in your hands, and just extrapolating that out to a sign just doesn't work because
Mm.
you have 5 seconds or less to get a viewer's attention when it's a yard sign when you're driving past. But in the hand, they have a chance to like look at it, flip it over, and really take in that information.
Mm.
So in that time, I've instructed our team like when they see something like that, flag it. And if we want to take it the next step, then just make them a proof in a way that we know because we're the experts. We've been doing this for a while, and we know what works. So because of that, we do that for free a lot of the times when an order comes in that doesn't look right. We take it upon ourselves to kind of give the customer something even better. But of course, we have to always let them know and let
Hmm.
them know that if this is what you want, great. Well, we'll run with it. If not, then we can go back to what you want, what you had originally, or you could provide something else altogether.
Yeah.
So that has created a big difference too, because at the end of the day, even if something is the customer's fault, it's not their fault, it's ours, because
Yep.
it's we're the ones that got to answer to it. And if it leaves our facility, and even though that's what the customer ordered, it doesn't feel right as a customer getting something, paying $100+ for something, only to find out it doesn't work.
Yep.
So, like being able to preemptively address these things, like sometimes even typos. A lot of people make typos on their designs, and at the end of the day, they're always coming back to us saying, "Hey, you guys printed it with the wrong font or wrong text." And it's like,
Mm.
well, you did say that that's what you wanted, and you approved it, but we
Yep.
have to find a way to make that happy medium because if they lost like $300 over a typo, it like really sucks. So
Yeah.
it's something we have to like kind of like we find ways to make it work for the customer. Maybe if it's something that they did wrong, then we kind of split it half half because our margins are so low. If we just gave a second set, then it's like we're losing so much money here and
Yeah.
there. But it's like all about trying to find a balance, and that balance is so critical. You have to measure what is the value of fixing this versus keeping their money. Okay, $300 order, right? If it was
Hmm.
a $300 order that was messed up on their end, we have to measure the value. If they came back for a second, third, fourth order, will that offset the mess up on this part? So
Right.
we try to figure out. We'll give more now to have a better relationship, better experience in the long run. And with that being the case, it's kind of worth that extra investment to make sure they're happy.
Yeah. The other thing with that too, like just just shelling out some money to make sure that they're happy. Like on in our early days, we were still refining our systems and everything like that, and we straight up told our customers, look, we're not perfect. Like there are going to be some hiccups, there are going to be some bad months, uh, and this is some of the things that you could see. And if they get mad about it, okay, give them a discount. with us, like we would give all sorts of discounts at the very beginning, just because like we had messed up, like, or the system messed up, or the client, like you said, the client approves a piece of work and it wasn't right. And so like even for us, like when we're doing web design one-offs, we ask them 8 or 9 times, hey, are you sure? Like, this is what we would recommend. Are you sure that you're wanting to do this? Yes. Okay, we're gonna do it, but this is why we're protesting against it. Like, this is why. These are the metrics. These are statistics that we've seen against this. Like using like for instance, using a black background on your website. Like, don't do that. Don't do a
Mm-hmm.
black background. It's statistically it's terrible. It's got a 1% conversion rate. It's
Wow.
got if it's black, most people will think that their phone is frozen,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so you have a lot of bouncing. You have a lot of problems with text, with formatting. If you're ever wanting to put a logo on it, you got to make sure that it's clear, clear
Mm-hmm.
background. It's a nightmare. Kind of like with the business signs you were saying with business cards. I've seen tons of those kind of business signs. I have never once called on any of them. Even if I stop, make a point to take a picture of it, I
Mm-hmm.
have never called on those. Just because it's inconvenient. I
Mm-hmm.
don't know I don't know what you're selling me. Like,
Mm-hmm.
even if you're a realtor, like, of course you're gonna be a realtor. You sell real estate. Everyone should know that. But in marketing, we've found that no one evolves beyond the 5th grade level when it comes to marketing, especially if they're not paying attention.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so the keep it simple, stupid. Uh, that's that whole slogan, keep it simple, is just even more apparent now because, like you said, 5 seconds is all you got to make a first impression. I would argue even 2 seconds.
Yeah, less.
Now, especially online, you're talking 2-3 seconds. If you don't get in front of them and tell them what's going on, they're gonna click off. They're gonna move on. I mean, take Mr. Beast for example. I'm sure you know who that is. Do you know who
Mm-hmm.
that Mr. Beast is? Oh my goodness.
Mm-hmm.
Mr. Beast on YouTube. He's one of the bigger names. Um, he does a great job by telling you exactly what's going to happen within the first 30 seconds of his videos. Exactly. And so it's absolutely crazy how small people's attention span are. Um, and like even scientists are saying it's getting as short as a goldfish. With people, there's just so many brands out there, so many people out there bombarding you, trying to keep it top of mind that it's just you've got to stand out.
Mm-hmm.
You've got to stand out. And Mr. Beast does a great job of that by literally telling you exactly what he's going to be doing in 30 seconds and then continuing on. And the
Mm-hmm.
same thing you got to do with signs, I'm assuming too. You got to tell them exactly what they're selling, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, what's been like? Give me an example. Like, what's been like one of your most better converting signs? Do you have like any statistics on that?
Um, Not necessarily. It's hard to I could tell you like the better converting templates. Better
Yeah.
converting templates is usually like 2 to 3 lines maximum, just text. There's an effect of reversing the image color because we charge by the color because we screen print.
Uh-huh.
So they pay for one color. It's the base that they can pay. And in order to maximize that, you can have 2 lines of text in red. And then in the bottom, you have a big rectangle in red, but the text is white. So you get the effect of having 2 colors while you're only using one. And by
That's
far, the most successful template that we've ever made is just those 2 lines of text with that red rectangle with white text inside of it. And it's
that's
just
crazy.
so simple. And it's because like that's what that's all that's really necessary. You mentioned 2 seconds. It is like 2 seconds or even less.
Yep.
It's such a short amount of time. You have to convey what you do in those couple seconds. and also give the call to action. And that's why in the red rectangle is actually the phone number. And then in the 2 lines, it says something like I buy houses, fast cash, or it says something like pressure washing services, pressure washing, roofing, or in another instance, lawn care services, and then the phone number.
Yep.
So like so simple, 3 words, 4 words, 5 words if you have to stretch it that way. But it is the best converting by far because it works.
Yeah. And I'm assuming probably like the bigger the text, the better, because you're talking someone that's going 30 miles an hour at max, on a town street passing this, and you have to talk like red letters on a white sign. That's eye catching, like I know. I think the most eye catching is orange. I think that's what it is. I think, right? Is that what y'all found? Kind of orange is the best color for eye catching. Red.
We actually recommend red because orange in the sunlight isn't as like that element of the sunlight hitting the color. Orange actually seems a little bit harder to see on white than red. Red stands out like from a mile away, especially behind the green background, which would be grass. Or if it's like in a higher level and you're looking at it contrasting against the sky, the blue sky, red works both.
Yeah, that makes sense, because even with web design, like on like call to actions, like the add to cart or whatever, like I've been seeing more and more people using red on those, and they've actually been converting a little bit better than everything else. But I would also have to say that would have to be within reason. Like if you have a blue and white, and then you have a red button tossed in there, that's so jarring to the user. It's like, oh gosh, so like, to me, for whenever we run into something like that, we actually recommend black.
Yeah.
Because they're like, oh, this is different. It's still eye catching, but it's different. I know with yard signs, like you probably any more than 5 words is pretty much a no go, right?
Yep.
Yeah.
For sure.
Just it's too much to read. Especially if you're going 30 miles an hour trying to catch that glimpse, or like it's way down here, you're having to look down, and your car's partially blocking it. Like, it's hard to read. I know we have a couple of investors that do yard signs, and I know for y'all, like, it would be really really important for if y'all do any recommendations on placements. Is we have my investors have been putting them on both sides of the street, on major thoroughfares or whatever, just because you don't know which side people are going to be looking on, especially if it's like on an off ramp on a highway. Put it on both sides, because you don't know if they're turning left, turning right, or going straight. Where if they're going, like, if it's a 2-way, of course you're only going to need one, because there's no point. But if there's like a grass median, put it on both sides. One in the median, one in the corner, because you don't know if they're going to be turning left or right.
Yep.
Of course, isn't there a bunch of regulations on signage too?
Yep, there is. So it all depends on city and local ordinances. So we don't necessarily recommend doing that, but the most, like, the ones that work the best and is like completely compliant is putting it on the yards of people who have agreed to let you do that. So for a lot of lawn care people, they're working on a yard. They put the yard sign out on the yard that they're finished, and the neighbors see it. It's like, oh, cool, I like that. Same with roofing. Yeah. Roofing companies, they have the best success with yard signs because they're over there on top of a roof for like 2-3 days, maybe a week at a time. So if a roof looks really nice, then the chances are, if a roof was replaced at one house in the neighborhood, then it's about time for the rest of the roofs too, because it's like a 20 to 30 year time span.
Yeah.
So a lot of the times roofers use yard signs to like a crazy degree, because they'll start getting all these houses in the same neighborhood because they did a good job on the roof. They got recommended, and the call to action is right there on the person's yard.
Yeah.
So those work very well.
Yeah, I know. My brother-in-law, he does roofing, and so they're like, yeah, we put that as soon as we get the contract, we put the sign in the yard, and we won't take it off for a good month, just because like we get so many clients off of that thing. And same with realtors. I mean, they'll put their sign in the yard as soon as they get it. And
Hmm.
they'll let it sit until after closing,
Yeah.
or even longer. There's a house not far down the street. That thing's been on the market. It's been sold for 3 months. It's still sitting out in the front yard.
Yeah.
It's sold on the side. It's still sitting there. I'm sure they have permission or whatever. But uh, I know. Well, like to accompany that too, like uh, with with yard signs, I've been seeing a lot more people Googling the company afterwards.
Mhm.
Like uh, they'll call you up, figure out who you are, what you do, what your pricing is, and then as soon as they hang up, they'll Google you or they'll look you up on the web. And a lot of people don't understand how important that is. Like you have to be on the web at this point in age, but on the contrary, that it doesn't have to be expensive.
Hmm.
Like Google offers a free website with your Google My Business listing.
Yeah.
It's a free website. It's not great by any means, but it gets the job done.
Hmm.
And so like if any business owners, new or old, that are out there, like they're trying to figure out how to get more leads, just open a Google My Business listing. You get a free website with it. It's not great, but it gets the job done.
Hmm.
And the main thing is it lets you get that social proof behind you
Yeah.
for your clients, so that your yard signs in conjunction with your online marketing are even more powerful. Especially uh, like landscapers, yeah, do it definitely. You don't need to post a couple things on there. Roofers, great idea for having a
Hmm.
Google My Business listing is to take a photo of
Yes.
the house and put it on your Google My Business listing.
Hmm.
Like, yes, do it.
Show your work. Show your
Show
work.
your
It's
work
awesome.
every time. Show your work. Um, we have. I don't know if you've seen it, but the newest craze and service have been vent cleaning, where they come in and they attach a giant hose to the side of the house and they'll clean out all your vents with the hose
Hmm.
and a scrubber. They don't. Their best marketing tactic is you get a little video camera
Yeah.
with that, and as you're going through, you're literally recording it as it's scraping all the stuff out. That is intrigued me as a marketer because I'm like, now I want my house
Yeah.
clean like that because look how clean that is. That's
Yeah.
awesome. Or before and after photos, like yes, do it. Take time and do it. As from a marketing standpoint, just do it. If you think it's a good idea, try it out. Even if you think it's a terrible idea, try it out.
Yeah.
Like you never know what may resonate with people.
Mhm.
Um, it's great, and also like I know we're getting on to like 3 hour mark here, so sorry about that. I'm kind of
No
destroying
worries.
your whole thing, my talking. But I don't. Do you have another interview after this?
No, no, we're good.
Well, the sorry, I'm just looking at the time and just cracking myself up. I've been talking this entire time. The the other thing was like with the yard signs too. Like uh, 9 times out of 10, if someone calls on your yard sign, it's because they need something, right? On social media, it's completely different. 9 times out of 10, if they're calling you, it's because they found you interesting,
Hmm.
or you're posting your work, or you're doing something that someone else isn't doing. You know? Oh, I just lost power.
Hmm.
Can you see me?
Yeah, I can see you.
Okay. I'm just gonna. I can't see you, so you froze. So I'm just
Oh,
gonna
okay.
keep talking. So, yeah, I just lost power here for whatever reason. So, but yeah, like social media is the epitome of like I forgot what it's called now. It's not. They're not looking for a sale. They're looking to be entertained. They're
Hmm.
entertainment,
Hmm.
and if you're not, they're they're not going to convert. They're
Hmm.
not going to do all this. You have to entertain them. You have to engage them. And the more they see you, the more likely they're going to recommend. They're more likely they're going to recommend it and see you. And then when the time comes that they need a new roof, they're going to call you.
Yeah.
Or they need some new signs, they're going to call you. Just because you're there. I know I've been following this realtor. He's a brand new realtor back in my hometown, and he has done more in the year of 2020 than the top earners in his office.
Wow.
And they asked him how does he do it? He's on Facebook all day, and he's just like, hey, look at this cool house that I thought was cool, like, or look at this. What do you think of this pool? Like, just asking people what their thoughts are on things, or and the conversation will come up naturally. There's no reason to force it. You just gotta, it'll come up naturally. Just like, even for y'all, like, it would be really cool for y'all just be like, dude, look at this awesome sign that someone's having made. Because like it's good for y'all because you're seeing a sign. But it's good for the owner too because they're getting their promotion out before even their promotion's out there. And so it's like, wow, that's pretty cool. Look at that color design. Look at that, like, oh, hey, that's pretty simple. Like, I don't have to make it complex.
That's pretty smart. I'm actually going to do that.
Yeah, there you go. There's some advice, but or like, people also on Facebook or on YouTube or on things are highly interest based, right? Whereas on Google, they're looking to get something, right? They're looking for an answer.
Yep.
They're looking for a sale. They're looking for something. Whereas others interest based, and so like taking the time and being like, this is how, like for a roofer, for example, this is how you nail down the roof tiles. You just show it, and that will do great as a video for y'all. Like, it'd be cool. I think for me personally, it'd be cool. Like, how do you do your screen printing? Like, and just show like this is step 1, step 2, step 3. I don't know how many steps there are. How many steps are there?
It's about 7. So there's graphics, film, screen, print, and then finishing. So 5 steps.
Not bad
plus
at all.
shipping, and then customer service. So there's 7 altogether.
Of course, in your sales funnel, there's 7, but like the actual process of making it too, just be like, just a 5-minute video, or
I just made a video. Just made a video on Friday, actually, a 60-second video to put on TikTok. So posted that. It's exactly what you just said. It's a step-by-step process on how screen printing is done for yard signs. So got 2 whole views from it, but it's all trial and error and figuring out how to make these videos and what to do that people actually want to see.
Well, the whole thing too, like when it comes to YouTube and things like that, like the how-to videos do really well, like how to design your sign to get better traffic. Like, that'd be a great video for y'all. Like, this is what we recommend. These are other options. This is what we recommend. This is why. And you give statistics and everything. And Google, moving with the whole organic, like, original content, has been loving that kind of stuff. But like, even if you're in the service industry, right? Say a roofer, for example, or even in fencing, since we're in the fencing industry with our own investments. Our number 1 converting blog article on all of our fencing ones combined, because we have about 32 of them, right? Our number 1 blog article is pricing. Pricing. Like, how much would a 30-foot fence of chain link be? With everything, service, labor, everything, and it's literally just giving a list. Say, this is like in the Dallas, Texas area, it's generally $2 per square foot of labor and materials.
That's so much value. The customer has the information right at their fingertips. They don't have to dig too deep for it. That's really
or call for a quote, or take that extra step. Like, it's right there. It's literally right there, and it's not a national average. It's not anything like this. It's, and you could take that even further and be like, a wood fence, for example. If you're wanting to do 30 feet of wood fence, this is with metal poles.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like 5 feet high or whatever. This is the approximate price you're going to be looking at. 5 foot per feet, or $5 per square foot. Even with like electricians,
Mm-hmm.
like I know we had one the other day where we asked them how much does it cost per yard of wire
Mm-hmm.
for a user, or like how much does a light switch take to change out, like you want to change it over to a fan or whatever, how much would that cost someone, right? And those kind of articles that we've seen, like, they're basically our main articles that are bringing in most of the traffic, right? Which is a terrible idea to have. Would not recommend it, because as soon as someone writes something just a little bit better, you're knocked out. There
Yeah.
goes all your leads and everything.
Mm-hmm.
But on the same time, we're seeing, 65, 70, 75% conversions on
That's so
those,
good.
which is crazy, and it doesn't have to be much. It's literally like, using Google Analytics,
Mm-hmm.
which I recommend for every website ever. Please put Google Analytics on there. The new one, not the old one, the Google
Mm-hmm.
Analytics 4, and literally look to see where your traffic's going, right? And when we sat down and looked at it, we analyzed all of our articles together for fencing. We saw that it was this type of post. Then we looked how many of them took the time to click the button to say get a quote,
Mm-hmm.
and we found 65 to 70%, sometimes up as high as 75%, called from that blog article or
Mm-hmm.
sent a message from that blog article. It's like they don't need a quote. They're getting a
Mm-hmm.
better quote because now they know exactly who they're working with. But, it's crazy just how powerful that kind of stuff is, because
Mm-hmm.
now they know, okay, I'm at least expecting to pay, $600 on this fence because it's
Mm-hmm.
a 30-foot fence, right? And I want metal poles and everything. It's going to be at least $600, so they're prepared for it even before they
Yeah.
even get to you.
Yeah. Exactly.
And
They're qualifying themselves.
exactly, and it's such an easier sale too. It really
Mm-hmm.
is. It's such a that warm sale that they
Mm-hmm.
already know that they want you to work on it because you've already provided them value and everything, and they've done research on it. Those are so easy sales. It's crazy. Um, it's absolutely nuts how easy those kind of sales are. But for like, you know, uh, those kind of blog articles, or even like if you want to do YouTube for whatever reason on that kind of article, which I would not recommend, but you could if you wanted. Uh, just taking the time and addressing the question is so important nowadays. It's crazy. Um, like with y'all, I don't know if y'all found like um, whenever someone's coming back to get more signs, and I guess this could be a metric y'all can test, is are they getting something different every time, or are they getting the same one over and over again? I don't know if y'all
Yeah.
have any.
We got a mix of both. Some people stick true to their design. They know that it works. Other people experiment every single time. Yeah, to do like some A/B testing, which one works better. Some people even do which color works better.
Oh
And
yeah,
their own experience is going to be more powerful than what we say. Like we say white and red is the best, but I mean, the customers might be having a completely different experience. And if it's just a $99 for 100 of these signs, then I mean, it's worth testing for them.
yeah.
So, especially if they're real estate investors, they're putting these signs are their bread and butter. That's how they get a lot of sales. So they start experimenting with different colors, different. There's one guy, he's actually in Oklahoma City, and he changes up his design slightly every single time. And he used to do 9x24s, which is like a landscape, kind of like this, 9 inches by 24 inches. This is not 9x24. I'm just
Yeah.
giving you an example. This is the orientation of it. And he recently switched it to an 18x24, and it was portrait like this. And he's saying that the amount of calls that he's gotten from it was so much more, and the design is completely different. The text is different, the color is even different. So yeah, it's
Wow.
like about experiment. Yeah, it's really interesting to find out. And probably because in Oklahoma City, I've actually been there. There's a lot of signs out there. A lot of real estate investors do marketing out there. So like, how is his going to stand out? He switched his orientation a little bit, and he's been seeing quite a bit of success from it. And he placed the order twice in 2 weeks actually because of how good it did.
Wow, that's really awesome. I know for me, like even around me or in Dallas, we see investor signs everywhere because everyone's getting in the game right now.
Yeah.
But even like the one that caught my eye this last week was they did a pink sign, and I was like, "What the heck?" And I actually had to pull over and look at it and be like, if "This is a real estate sign that they made pink," and I was like, "That's clever as all get out." Like because you have all these yellows and whites and everything, and then you have this one pink. And it's like, what? Wait, hang on, what? Back it up. This is actually pink. I don't get to see pink very often. It was a pink background with white letters,
Mm-hmm.
which was terrible because I could not read that
Yeah.
whatsoever driving by.
Yeah. Too light.
Terrible choice. I don't know if y'all, yeah, you would probably recommend like red with that or something, right?
Darker
Maybe
pink.
darker pink.
Yeah, I would recommend a darker pink. I do like to see that people are using pink. We actually offer that color. It's obscure. No, but like it gave you that wow factor to the point
Yeah,
where like you stop just to see what it was because you don't ever see that. I
yeah,
definitely recommend things that not everybody else is doing. So
yeah. Like everyone uses whites, highlighter yellow, orange, or some sort of red. Like
mhm.
that's what everyone uses. And of course,
Yeah,
white and red, like you said, has been the most converting, and it's been the best. That's what you recommend. But like those odd colors, like those are the ones that are like, whoa. I mean, just take for example, I don't know, whenever you're driving around, you see like this lime green car, you're like,
yeah, yeah. It's like
where'd
I
they get
wouldn't get that,
that?
but I wouldn't get that car, but I notice it.
Yeah, or like, there was this Mary Kay girl that's been driving around in town here, and every time I see her, I'm like, there she goes, there's Mary Kay, she's going to make sales or whatever.
Mhm,
But everyone knows she's a Mary Kay girl because she
mhm,
has Mary Kay strewn across her car and everything. It's a pink car. Makes
mhm.
sense. And so just like those kind of minute details that
Yeah.
kind of just glosses over. Um, so yeah,
So with all this about cutting it close to the end of the meeting, so I want to ask you, do you have any advice that you would share for somebody getting into a business, or any advice that somebody who's in a business besides the Google Analytics? You gave a lot of advice already, so any like quick tidbits of advice you'd
yeah.
give to somebody?
I think the most important thing that I would recommend for any business owner getting started or starting out right now, like getting started right now or been started for the last 20 years, is manage your online presence. Like, just do it. It's not that hard. You don't need to be a rocket scientist. It's as simple as just asking people to give you reviews and replying to them. That's as simple as it needs to be. But manage your online presence. It's so important now in this day and age to be online, whether you're brick and mortar, you're a service business, or you're a totally online business. You need to manage it. You need to take time and you need to manage it. That's my number one recommendation on everything. Um, just because that's the first impression 70% of the population is going to make of you is your online presence and what they're saying about you online. And if you're not a guru online, you can always give me a call.
Yeah,
I
there you
don't mind taking care of you. We have 350 brands under our banner that we take care of, and we don't mind whatsoever. Um, you know, but at the same time, you could do it yourself. You really can. There's plenty of tutorials out there online for YouTube on YouTube if you want to learn it. Even Google has free courses how to do it.
go.
Like literally, it's like just type in Google courses and just go through the digital advertising courses that they have. Get yourself certified if you wanted to, or if you just want to do it for fun. That's how I got started. That's how I grew this business. Was I took free courses as much as I could. I learned on YouTube, uh, and then I learned from experience. But the most important thing I have to say is manage your online presence. Um, out of everything, out of all the pieces of advice that I gave today, that's probably the most important. Just because it could hurt your business
Mm-hmm.
without you even knowing it.
Mm-hmm.
Um, you know, uh, there was a business owner. This will be my last story. There was a business owner that we were talking to, and he had been in business for 35 years. Right? He had done great work and everything. He'd grown his business word of mouth. He was well known in his community. He was a public servant. Everyone knew him, but he started going down in 2018. Right? He decided to step back. His health was deteriorating, and he wanted to get out of the game and everything. But his business started crumbling, and he wasn't sure why. He doesn't understand Facebook. He doesn't understand Facebook or YouTube or any of the social media, but he understands Google. He has a thing. And when we sat down with him, we just told him, "You're being affected by your Google reviews." He's like, "What is that?" And we had come to find out that one of his staff members, again, going back to the employee, taking care of your employees, one of your staff members is just not doing their job right, and it's affecting you negatively on Google, and people are starting to catch on. Like, rumors are out there, people are out there, they're talking, bad experiences talk, and he had no idea that it was out there. Like, as soon as he got on there, he started responding to those negative reviews, telling them, "Look, I'm sorry you had such a bad experience. I want to make it right. Can you please give me a call? Let's make this right." Right? That right there saved his business. Just by doing, he started
Mm-hmm.
stagnating. He wasn't going out down anymore. He was stagnating, and then he started doing more, where he was going to more public appearances. He was doing more, and he made his employees happier.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He made sure that his management team understood that they had to be out in the field, managing that presence that in the community and online, and it started going back to
Mm-hmm.
where he was
That's awesome.
supposed to be. And it's that simple. That's how powerful Google and Facebook reviews are now. Just because it's worse, because you could hear it from someone, off to the side, but to be able to read it, that's been there, you can't take it down as a business owner. The only person that can take it down is Google
Cool.
and the person that made it.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have a 1-star review on there, and they just they make a novel about the bad experience, like, just reply to them and say, "Look, I'm sorry you had such bad experiences with this and this and this. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about it. Give me a call." And that right there tells the people that are looking at you that you're an active owner, that you care, that you're fixing the problem.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even if the problem was 2 years old, respond to it. Right? Like, it doesn't matter how old it is, but you need to respond to it. You
Absolutely.
need to respond to it, because again, negative talks. It's like a wildfire. You can't control it. So that's
Managing.
my final thoughts.
Awesome. I mean, that's great advice. It's some incredible conversation you and I had, Tyler. I really appreciate you taking the time to get on this today. I know the people who are watching this or who have made it this far are have gotten so much value. You shared so much about so many different things and a lot of free nuggets of information in here that is just extremely valuable. So I hope the viewers be sure to check out Tyler's website. I'll keep his website name in the URL in the description box. So aside from that, that's it from me. So thank you so much, Tyler. I appreciate you being on here once again.
Thank you so much.